Skype post. If someone else wants to do that, that would be great. I'll repost it, but I cannot be bothered right now. Okay. Just in time for the channel to start. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Adventure on So Many Levels. We're going to play A Land Once Magic.
Yay!
Ooh.
I'm
Magical.
Christiana Ellis, and I'm usually the game master. I only say usually because this game doesn't have a game master. It is collaborative.
Yay!
Da, da, da.
Yes. So after many trials and tribulations of just trying to set up the screen in a usable way, here we are. And playing with me tonight, Lee Burdett,
Hello.
Dove Archambault,
Hello.
Jason Banks,
Hello, hello.
and Nobilis.
Hey there.
All right. So, what is A Land Once Magic? Well, it is it's a collaborative world-building game where we're going to use a deck of cards and various prompts to help us fill out a world. And I think it's going to be a good time. It's by Viditya Voleti. You can buy it on itch, like I did. And so what we've got on the screen, if you're watching the stream right now, is I've got the PDF here on the left-hand side. And then we've also got a little place where we're going to draw digital cards via Roll20. And where those will get displayed, I can demonstrate such as so, like so. I'm going to go ahead and recall that one and reshuffle just because we're not ready to do that yet. But, and then I've got a Google Doc as well, which is where we're going to be, just taking notes as we go. And yes, just for the stream purposes, I would suggest that we use larger font size. So the font size that we've got there is probably just about right. There we go. So in any case, this game has a little bit about what is post fantasy, entering the world, how to use this book, and it specifically says this is a game that's designed to not require any prep. You just need a deck of cards and the book. Playing the game is simple. Move through the book sequentially, starting with palette and touchstones, then into your first table, magic, and then work your way through the tables sequentially, mixing in exploratory tables as you go, and finally bringing this game to a close with a point of view. The game teaches you as you go, so feel free to jump right in, is what it says. So exploratory tables are unique. We're going to choose one of 6 to accompany certain tables throughout the game. We'll only draw on them when a prompt has already been answered. This will be more clear as we go. But in any case, there's lots of sort of options we have for this. But as described previously, first we're going to start with palette. So before you begin crafting the world, as a group, you will create a palette. Your palette consists of a few paints, heavily descriptive words that help everyone get on the same page when crafting together. You will create a palette of about 3 to 4 paints. Each player should create or pick 2 paints and write them down, but don't show the other players. Once everyone has 2 paints, reveal them at the same time. Discuss amongst each other which paints you want in the game, and then each player gets the final say on at least 1 paint. So look for complementary and contradicting paints. Your world will create multitudes, and the more evocative and diverse your paints are, the easier that will be to create. And there's a list of example paints there. So these are all kind of related to tone for the world setting. And so as far as how to do this part, as far as coming up with 2, I might suggest that if you have some other text editor, you could type your choices on that and then copy them and then paste them into the Google Doc when we can all do that together. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So everyone
simultaneous reveal there?
So that's the idea. So to start, just make sure that everyone, if you have whatever your other text thing is, go ahead and come up with what your two suggested paints will be. And let's see, I'm gonna do. Um,
Remember to have your cursor in the right place so that you're not typing it somewhere where it doesn't belong. I see at least 2 cursors that are not where they belong.
All right. So when you are ready, you've got your 2 words. You can copy them from whatever else you wrote them in, and then when we'll all get we'll all put them in paste at once. So is everybody ready? Does everyone have 2 words?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Dove?
Yes,
Okay. Yeah, you did. You have to actually say so, or else I don't.
I thought I did.
Okay. Okay. So it sounds like everyone is ready. So let's say 3, 2, 1, paste. All right. So let's see. We should be expecting to have 10 words, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Someone not paste theirs?
Nope.
Okay. So did we? All right. We got lots of people doing the formatting. That's great. 4 or 5. Okay, so the words for this initial list are getting moved around. It's hard to. Wow, collaborative editing in real time. So
What?
anyone who is
Okay.
watching the stream is seeing this happen. But so yes, the words vivid, jagged, underground, grand, vast, eerie, stormy, ornate, shattered, and equilibrium. So this is where we have revealed them all at the same time. So now discuss amongst each other which paints you want in the game, and each player gets the final say on at least 1 paint. And it says we're looking for a final list of about 3 to 4 paints. We could probably do 5 if we want. If we want everyone to get to pick at least 1. But I would say let's try to shoot for what it recommends of 3 to 4. And so just like if anyone is feeling like, oh no, everyone else picked one and I didn't get to pick one and I feel left out, we can do 5. It's not a problem. But otherwise, if we can agree on 3 to 4, let's do that. Okay?
Yeah.
So what do folks think?
Well, I think just to start with, that grand and vast are enough synonymous that we can eliminate one of those 2 pretty safely.
Sure. So I agree they're similar. They're not quite the same. So which of the 2 would we want?
I think vast would be better than grand.
Because we've got ornate here too, and that also kind of equivalates or is an equivalent
grand is kind
with
of
grand.
vast and ornate.
Okay.
Yeah. So, well, in that sense, then we could potentially use grand to essentially mean both vast and ornate, rather than saying we eliminate grand, right?
Yeah.
That's just a thought.
Yeah.
I think that as far as narrowing things down, that's more efficient. So I think we can. I'm going to mark the ones that we kind of eliminate in italics.
Okay. We could probably do strike through if that's easy. I don't know, maybe that's not
I
an
know
easy format.
I know the keyboard shortcut for italics. I don't know the shortcut for strike through.
Fair enough. Okay, so
jagged and shattered are kind of this also in that kind of.
I'd be okay getting rid of jagged.
Okay.
Yeah. I think.
Yeah.
All right.
And I'm okay getting rid of equilibrium, or if you want to, it doesn't really seem to fit the vibe.
Well,
that's
It's
just a
also a
word that's been on my
noun.
brain.
the book
Yeah.
does also say feel free to, and even encourage us to use contradictory ones.
Oh
Like
yeah,
they don't
yeah,
have
yeah.
to
I
all
was
vibe with each
actually
other.
thinking that I liked equilibrium because it was in contrast to several of the other ones.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I kind of want
I
to put a
guess-
star on that one.
I'm kind of meh on underground, because
Okay.
that is it's like underground just seems kind of seems, I don't know, a little
Okay.
yeah, it doesn't necessarily seem grand.
Sure. I mean, I think it could be, but we're looking to cut words out, so I don't think we need to niggle over it unless anyone.
I think the dwarves might argue with you
Well,
on that.
Oh yeah. So in any case, but yeah, we're looking to cut down the words. So unless anyone really had their heart set on underground, let's go ahead and mark that one as well. All right. So that still leaves vivid, grand, eerie, stormy, shattered, equilibrium. So that's we've reduced it to 6.
That was my problem. I couldn't figure out an adjective form of equilibrium.
Stable.
Balanced.
Balanced, I think maybe is
balanced. Yeah.
Yeah.
The technical adjective is equilibrious, but
I mean, we could
let's do balanced.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So so it sounds like so far that grand and balanced are 2 that we definitely want. Is that sound right, everyone?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, maybe we bold those. Or what star works too.
Yeah, bold.
All right. So, do we want, so to get 3 or 4, we would want 1 or 2 more. And so vivid.
I think vivid is kind of doesn't say enough. Because things can be vivid in so many different ways. I
was kind of thinking vivid makes me think of the art here in the book, which, I'm just switching to the cover here really.
Actually, I would say that it's exactly the opposite, because so much of the book is in pastels, which are.
Well, I guess I'm thinking just colorful.
Yeah.
But
I like the idea of keeping shatter, because I kind of have something in mind, like with the touchstones. It's like because I can.
Let's not get ahead of ourselves, but shattered is a fine one.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know.
I don't hear people talking about eerie very much.
Eerie and stormy.
Yeah, I think we should have one. No more than one of those 2.
Stormy and balanced are kind of an interesting pair.
Yeah.
Right.
It could be a good something that, like you said, a contrast to work with.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So, yeah.
I think I like keep stormy and cut eerie.
Okay.
Yeah, because eerie can also be part of stormy depending on what the clouds look like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As I'm sure Dove is very familiar with.
Okay. So that gives us 3, and so vivid and shattered remain as.
My vote between those 2 would be the vivid would be the one that I would drop.
Okay.
Yeah, I was gonna say I like shattered.
Okay. Yeah. Grand, stormy, shattered, balanced. I think those are kind of interesting together. Yeah, great.
Yeah.
All right. Do we want to, if those are our 4, do we want to just go ahead and remove the others just to avoid
let's go ahead and
Okay. Great. So that is our palette: grand, stormy, shattered, balanced. So both the palette and the touchstones are used for, like, when we're trying to we're having trouble coming up with something, or trying to decide which way to go on something, we look to the palette and the touchstones to see which might guide us, to a decision in those sorts of situations. So, in the meantime, let's look at touchstones. Everyone picks one piece of media not traditionally considered fantasy and draws an aspect of inspiration from it as a touchstone. These are themes, setting elements, specific moments, or just vibes. It can draw on a small element or a big idea. For example, your touchstones could be Cowboy Bebop's jazz and bluegrass soundtrack, Legally Blonde's fierce determination in the face of prejudice, Hellboy's stark shadows and deep colors, or Borderlands' funky guns. This helps create a fantasy that pulls from outside itself. Don't be afraid to get weird and out there. If you're struggling to think of a touchstone, pick an aspect of something you're currently invested in or a favorite piece of media you always go back to. Be excited about your touchstone and get excited about others. The easier it is to draw from them, the better your world becomes. All right, so
I've got one because I was sitting there thinking about it because we talked about Shattered. I'm thinking Blade Runner, but it's the sprawling neon of Blade Runner, and it's like overburdened world. So I would say sprawling neon overburdened world.
Should we just
I mean, feel free to write it whatever level of detail you want. I mean, in order to describe the essence that you're trying to go for.
I'm trying to pick.
Yeah.
That's...
All right. So what we've already got on there is Stargate's transportation to varied places, Catch-22's mix of humor and pathos, Blade Runner's sprawling neon landscape, Subnautica's existential horror, the fading colonial power of Imperial Raj. Okay.
Yeah, that's Anne Lecky's series that starts with something justice.
Ancillary
Justice, yeah.
I've heard the title. I've not read them.
Yeah.
I mean, there's probably 500 books that someone would have that reaction at me not having read, if not more. You know what I mean? It's like...
yeah. Well, I mean, I am to books the way you are to movies, so...
Sure. I think that's great. I will add it to the list. But so in any case, though, we should probably, each of us, we can leave what we've written on the page, but just in case people are not all familiar with whatever it is that we've added, let's just talk a little bit more about it so everyone kind of understands the vibe and can work with it. Does that make sense?
Yeah. No. Yeah.
Okay.
For mine?
Yeah.
Stargate's transportation to varied places. Stargate and Stargate SG-1 involves a device that can allow people to walk through to different worlds. And I mean, like, you have a shattered world. You got, portals to different parts of it, and who knows what's on the other side of the portal? Who knows? Is it like our environment? Is it different? Is there a monster waiting to eat you on the other side? Is there a friendly stranger that is like, oh, hello?
That suddenly wants you to eat your face.
Yeah. Great.
Because I've seen Stargate too.
Yeah.
So, Catch-22 was mine, and that book is, I think, is probably my favorite book. And what it's includes is a lot of stuff that is just completely straight up silly. Like you have a character whose parents, their last name was Major, and then because the dad thought it was a funny joke, decided to name the kid Major, Major, Major. And this was against the objections of his wife, so he did it in secret. And the kid did not find out until later when he was enrolled in school that his actual birth certificate name said he was Major, Major, Major. And then, of course, when World War II breaks out, the computer makes an error because of his name, and he is promoted straight from private to major and now doesn't have any idea of how to do any of the responsibilities he's been assigned.
And he's major, 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 major.
Major, major.
Yes, exactly.
Wow.
Yes, and in fact, part of what happens in the plot there is that he keeps being sent forms to sign, and he has to sign them with his full name. So Major, 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 Major. And then every time he signs something and sends it away, it comes back like a week later with new edits that he has to re-sign. And then finally, one day, out of sheer frustration from having to write Major, 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 Major so many times, he signs it Washington Irving instead. And that one doesn't come back. And so he starts signing them all that way. And so that's the sort of silliness that is in. There's lots of very silly things, but all of that is kind of a counterpoint to a story that is really about the horrors of war. And it's really using those two things as kind of two sides of a coin, that I think is in a really interesting way, because you have the silliness of various surreal elements of surprise and incompetence and all personality, but then you pin that with the idea that all of this is happening in something that's killing lots of people every day. And you sort of feel like if there's a war and it's killing lots of people, you would kind of hope that people have it under control, like that people who know what they're doing are managing all this, and yet. And so it's kind of all the worse. And so the titular catch-22 is the idea that if you don't want to fight this war anymore, well, one way to not have to fight the war anymore would be if you were crazy. But if the reason that you want to be considered crazy is because you don't want to fight the war anymore, that in fact demonstrates that you are not crazy, and therefore you have to keep fighting the war. So that's kind of what I was looking at here, is this idea that there's silly stuff, but also very serious stuff, and they do mix sometimes in ways we wish they wouldn't.
MASH drew heavily from Catch-22.
Oh, for sure, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh, most definitely.
Yeah, I could see that. Just from the description.
For me, Blade Runner I felt like Blade Runner kind of goes with the grand and the kind of shattered thing, because, and not to mention the faded colonial powers, right? Because there's that overarching concept of the corporation that's kind of running things from the high up, but yet you have this sprawling, very lively area where, you have Deckard and all the replicants and all the like gritty, super, like the sci-fi world in there. It's like, very reminiscent of Fifth Element, Blade Runner, Akira, that sort of thing. Because I like that futuristic apocalypse sort of thing.
Cool.
The Imperial Ranch novels, there's a trilogy, plus she keeps writing in the universe. The Imperial Ranch, the Imperium, the Empire in Imperial Ranch is like the epitome of colonial powers. It doesn't just exploit, it doesn't just enslave. The people that are supernumerary to, a world that the Imperium has conquered become the bodies that AIs use to walk around in the world and act in it. And those are the ancillaries that the book is about. And then the book is, in fact, about an AI. First book is an AI whose primary mind and almost all of its ancillaries have been destroyed, and it is now limited to one body for the first time in thousands of years. And it's, going through the world as this single person when it has never been before. And one of the themes of it is that this empire is has stopped expanding, and when a colonial empire stops expanding, the only thing you can do at that point is to decay. And so it is facing inability to get things done in the first book, and then as the later books go on, it's facing internal dissent and ultimately a civil war at the top. But because this is all, the empire itself is run by an AI, it's different forks of the same AI that are now fighting against each other using ancillaries. And they're not fighting in the sense of like shooting guns. It's much more weird than that. So, yeah.
All right.
What was this book or series?
The Imperial Ratch series, the first one is called Ancillary Justice.
Okay. By who?
Anne Leckie, Leckie.
Okay.
All right. So this last one has had a new edition since I read it.
Yeah. Subnautica's existential horror and unexpected cuteness. Subnautica, for the maybe 2% who have never seen it or played it or heard me squee about it, is my absolute favorite video game. I play this like at least 5 times a year, just straight through. Wow. Play Subnautica. That it's my go-to good feelings. You start off completely overwhelmed in the game. You are crash landed on a planet. You have very few supplies. You have no land, no ability to do anything. Your life pod doesn't work. It's broken and only has basic bare functions. And so you kind of have to fix it and start living on this planet. But just off in the distance, just very faintly off in the distance, you can hear something roaring. And you go in the other direction, and just off in the distance, you can hear something roaring. And you go in another direction, and oh my god, there's another thing that's roaring, and oh, holy shit, what the fuck is that? And that's kind of the entire gameplay, is you keep going deeper, and oh, what the fuck is that, and how do I get around it? And I love it so much.
Definitely, it has setting appropriate reversal of sight and hearing generally, in the sense that you are almost always able to hear something much sooner than you will be able to see it.
Yeah.
And of course, once you start going really deep, it's dark down there.
Yeah, it's very dark down there. The unexpected cuteness comes in with the sounds of the smaller animals. And the smaller animals and the ones that you can eat are very cute. There's one that's named after Gary from SpongeBob SquarePants. It's called a Gary fish, and it looks like a snail with 2 little stocky eyes. There's Peepers, which is just one big eyeball and then a little body after it. And then there's Cuttlefishes in the original game, which you can find in various bases deep under the water. And they hatch, and you can play with them in the game. So, yes, there's existential horror, but there is also an absolute plethora of cuteness. It has got a fantastic soundtrack. I cannot recommend that game enough. It is wonderful.
I played it, creeped me out, couldn't get past the
Yeah, the thalassophobia, the thalassophobia is real. It will make you if you are in any way, shape, or form hesitant about going in deep water, it will trigger you.
I mean, it was
warning.
not what got me was going back into the ship.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So,
Yeah.
ironically, the claustrophobic parts.
Yeah.
In any case, though, we could all go on and on about these if we wanted this to be.
I mean,
let's all
Catch
discuss our
22 and
favorite.
Subnautica kind of had the same type of thing.
Yeah.
Well,
there's a lot of overlap.
There's some overlap. In any case, though, I think we've got good touchstones, so let's keep moving. So these palette and touchstones aren't laws upon your world, but they are guiding principles everyone at the table agrees to. So if you break away from them, check in with others. If you have a paint bright and you introduce some very dark content, ask the table or respect a fellow player if they call out that it fights an established paint. The world shifts. So we have this deck of cards set up. The jokers are included in it. And if a joker is ever drawn, that player may immediately add a new palette or touchstone or both. And this can reflect how your world has organically taken a new shape to encourage that continued direction in play, or it can introduce a new direction for your world. And after shifting the world, shuffle all cards, including the drawn joker. And then they continue their turn by drawing a new card. So, everyone watching the stream is getting to see all the very cute artwork in this book. Lots of good, cool stuff in there. Revealing the world. So, a magic is where we proceed next. So, we're starting the world with the titular magic, a story about its origins, what it's capable of, and how it is changing in a way that people aren't ready for. This creates a shape of your world's magic without getting too specific that will become clearer and deeper as you play. It also plants the seed of the conflict your world is going through as everything reacts to its magic. So there are 3 tables here. One is, it is said that magic was blank. 2, with it we could blank. And 3, but as the world changes, magic has begun to blank. And so we're going to take turns drawing 1 card for each table to finish each of the 3 sentences. So each player who drew a card can name or elaborate on the result, but make sure to discuss the entire table as a group. So basically, we're going to just take turns. So the order that we are on the screen for the benefit of our players, I'm at the top, then Lee, then Dove, then Jason, then Nobilis. There are only 3 in this section, but there are more, so I figure we just keep going that rotation going. Does that make sense to everyone?
Works for me.
Okay, so that would have me starting first, but if you would rather start first, Lee, because I'm reading the book.
Go right ahead.
Okay, all we're doing is drawing a card from a collective deck of cards anyway, so it shouldn't really even matter. But where it matters is not just which card you draw, but then elaborating on the result from that table. So I'm going to go ahead and draw the first card. And it is the King of Diamonds. So diamonds is the only part that matters for this table. And it says that it is said that magic was given to us. And then it has as a follow-up, like by the gods, by the elements, by the stars. So I think that it is said that the magic was given to us by the stars. And I think what that means is there's a little bit of maybe Superman in here, and the difference that the red sun versus yellow sun makes to him. And I think that maybe this is a situation where starlight and its various incarnations in the way that it can be manipulated, or filtered through a prism or refracted or reflected. That is the aspect that the magic takes, is by manipulating the light that comes from various stars. And that maybe suggests like a cluster of various stars, or that we have perhaps built in that we always we can travel through all these different places, like in the Stargate. But in any case, so yes, that's
Okay.
that first one.
I've written down, it is said that magic was given to us by the stars. Starlight in its various incarnations, refracted or reflected, is the aspect that magic takes.
All right. Hold on, I'm going to need to adjust my window here just so that I can be able to, there we go, scroll it on the screen. All right, great. So the next table is With It We Could. So Lee, please go ahead and draw the next card. You have to drag it on. Yeah, drag it onto the play. There we go. So Ace of Spades. So Spades, do you want to read it? Do you have it up, or I can read it?
Yep, I have it. I have it up. Defeat and conquer whatever stands before us.
Oh, okay.
And I think what that takes is that form takes the starlight can be focused into weaponry, kind of like Star Wars. But instead of it being like plasma blades and kyber crystals, it's actually like starlight, and it's related maybe to the star you were born under or something like that.
So a sword is like solidified starlight?
Yeah.
Do we want to add any specificity to whatever stands before us, or is the idea that it could be anything, but with the magic we can defeat and conquer whatever it is?
I think let's leave that open and we can refine it.
Okay. It does certainly play into sort of the colonial power or imperial stuff that we kind of talked about. And then as the world changes, magic has begun to, and this would be Dove choosing this card. Okay, that's another diamonds card. Do you have the table, or I can read it?
Yep, I have it. Evolve once more outside our control and understanding. So basically it's like, it used to be, you knew what, it was easy to tell what a person's star was. It was like, there's a dedicated set of measurements that could be made, like at the time someone was born, and if that person were to call upon that starlight, they'd have their magic. But then that started drifting, and then just they tried readjusting the measurements, and suddenly, but it never, they couldn't find it. They couldn't lock onto which star. And then just and then people started maybe having different showings of magic, but not controlled.
Okay.
And no idea what happened or why or how to control it.
So it grows unpredictable as opposed to unreliable.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Great. So that is a magic. Next, a legend. Your world contains many myths and legends, and this one is foundational. An ancient story is told that forms a basis of how people interact and see their world. But like many tales, it can be warped to fit anyone's motives. As you play, this legend's influence echoes through every corner of your world. How do different cultures relate to it, and how does its warping bring about the changing magic? So this is the same structure here. So, but Jason would be next.
All righty. 7 of Hearts.
Great. You have the table?
Yes, it is an unbeatable monarch. The Crimson Sword, Soul Lance, the Vermilion Hammer. Unbeatable monarch.
And you could come up with your own name if you want.
Right. Yeah, those are just examples.
Yes. You know what? I was playing around earlier. So the unbeatable monarch is the Silk Shade Empress. She was a queen whose kingdom fell when this world became shattered, and when that happened, her star, let's see, what could we do with it? Like, it probably went, say, maybe it collapsed or went supernova, and she was corrupted and became a monstrous spider-like being that hides out in some of the darkest corners of this shattered grand world.
So, like,
think of it as like kind of like if it was like a humanoid or a humanoid spider monster, kind of like what's the name of the one from Lord of the Rings?
Shelob?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was thinking more about the ones from Dark Souls.
Oh God.
Dark place.
So here's a question I'm asking the group, because like I've never played this game before either. But so like before, the structure of this section is a legend is told of blank, and then their tales tell of blank is the next section.
Yeah, and I think you stepped on that, Jason.
Oh, my bad.
Yeah, which is only just to say, like, you got a little ahead of where the rest of it is, which because we just want to let the cards dictate the flavor of those other two parts. But then we can discuss as a group to see if we want to add any more detail, and maybe some of that still aligns. Okay. But so I think the unbeatable monarch is the key part there, and then we'll find out what sorts of things did they do, and how it's been warped.
Okay, let's do this.
All right.
My turn.
Yes, correct.
Another heart.
All right, so that would be their tales tell of
wide-reaching conquest.
Yeah, there you go. So, I mean, that certainly aligns with kind of what we've started to build so far here. Mm-hmm. Does not contradict with anything. Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
Her mastery of the ability to build gates allowed her to conquer. I want to use a magical number here. 1,001 worlds.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. Great. That sounds wide-reaching. Sounds grand, according to our palette. All right, so back to me then for the last one of this section. That is a 6 of diamonds. So diamonds is faith. So now the legend has been warped, giving rise to faith. And the examples they have are those sacred scorched, we born of blood, waders of her worldly waters. Okay, so the idea here, as we said at the beginning here, is that, like many tales, it can be warped to fit anyone's motives. And so I think the idea here then is that maybe it's a little bit like what Nobilis was saying earlier about the Imperial Ratch, in the sense that it's like, if you're not growing, you're decaying for this type of an imperial colonialist structure, right? And so maybe this idea is that there are people who believe that continuing to expand the empire is actually like a religious obligation, like it's actively important and must be done. So even when there might be severe consequences to it, to doing it, they feel that it must be done. So they continue to pursue that even when other things might be breaking down. And so I think that I guess we should they're suggesting names here. So let's see. So the reason I kind of laughed there is it made me think of sort of numbers must go up, the sort of extreme capitalism sorts of ideas of, you know, nothing matters as long as the numbers going up. The numbers must go up. And so the idea that I'm trying to think of a more fun way to say that instead of just number must go up. But then again, maybe the silliness, the catch-22 is
the ever-weaving web.
Well, sure, but what I was actually trying to get to is in Catch-22, everyone has these very silly names. And so maybe having the name be a little bit silly goes along with that, you know. And
Yeah.
How about something like growth, like unfettered growth?
Or
or the Stretch McArmstrong.
I'm kind of like leaning back in the direction of just literally it's called numbers go up.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because,
okay.
you know, it's one of those things that might have, like, you know, it was started silly, but people said, no, that is actually what we want. That is what we mean. Numbers go up. It's like counting, right? It's fundamental to the universe that numbers go up. It's important. It's meaningful spiritually. And if you laugh at it, then we're mad at you.
All I can think of is Nicolas Cage in that Numbers movie. You just see, just have their high priest just has a room where they sit in the center, and it's just the walls are just covered in scrawlings of numbers.
Yeah, and you need to keep having more and more rooms to fill with more numbers, right? Because
you have to keep counting.
Yeah, you have to keep counting, and you're going to run out of room if you only have one room, so you need another room.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because numbers go up to infinity.
That's right.
And beyond.
Yes. Exactly. Great. Okay. So the legend of the Silkshade Empress, wide-reaching conquest. Do we want to try to connect those just a little bit more? Like, what do we think about? Was it just that she was so good at conquering that people just kind of got into this mental expectation that trend would or should always continue, or was there anything more direct?
Perhaps it was a case of with every conquest she made, her star would grow brighter. And when it stopped, after a time of not growing, her star dimmed and she started falling ill. So it's like, she had to keep she had to keep gaining power, or else she would die, or at least that's what they say.
Maybe we focus on what it is. Like, the legend has been warped, right? So her thing might not have been about numbers. Numbers is just like, now people evoke her legend to support this idea. you know, like we must always be expanding, just like the Silk Shade Empress did when she conquered all of the wide empire, right? And that sort of thing. Okay, well, maybe, yeah, I think we can move on, and we can expand this stuff as we go too, so.
Yeah.
Great. The world. This table is where most of your world building will take place. Here you are zooming out, creating foundations and riffing off of each other by answering questions within 3 categories: the culture, the land, the changing magic. Take turns drawing 1 card. So here's a question just related to that, and maybe we'll get to this as we go through, but the changing magic, we've talked about the world being shattered. Is the shattered world, did something shatter it, or is the world as we know it has always been shattered? And that's what the conquest was, is sort of reconnecting all of these shattered places. Or is the changing magic what causes the shattering? Like, all of these things are things that we you know, there's not a definite already established
I like the
answer.
idea of it being shattered sometime so far in the past that, like, it's past myth. Or
no, because okay, so the shattering. Okay, so we've already got a sentence written down that says her kingdom fell when this world became shattered. If you want to change that so that the world was shattered before she came along, that's fine. I'm just trying to, you know, not have contradictory, you know.
Yeah.
It's fine to have things that are in contrast to each other, but I don't think we should have things that are direct contradictions to each other.
Understood.
Right.
No, I
agree.
agree.
In that case, perhaps it's a case of, like, you know, when the world became shattered, the kingdom her original kingdom fell, and she rebuilt it with wide-reaching conquest. Discovering how
so again, like the sentence that's there, as we talked about, it was potentially a little bit reaching beyond the initial intent of the phase, but that's okay. We got it on there, right? Maybe this is, again, just what we get back to, is that the idea, part of the legend is that she was unbeatable. She did have this enormous conquest, wide-reaching conquest, and it took the universe shattering to end it, or to stop her. But also, so I guess it just raises the question, though, and this is where we actually do maybe want to just like think some more about it, which is to say, if this is a legend, meaning it's so old that it's like legend and it's not just like, you know, history, and it's been warped, what is the world now, right? Because I thought it sounded kind of like we've been
isn't that what we're about to do?
I guess so, yes. But I guess it's the timeline is in question, because part of, I think, the way that this game is structured is the idea that we have what had been the status quo that is now changing because the magic is changing, as opposed to the magic changed a long time ago, or something else happened a long time ago, and it's been a certain way.
I want to propose a solution.
Okay.
And that solution is to take this "her kingdom fell when the world became shattered" out, because I think that this is really where kind of the contention and the confusion is drawing from. Where, all right, so we have this Silk Shade Empress. She went on a tearing rampage through 1001 worlds, and the world that we inherit is now the one that's left over from that world so long ago. So my brain, I'm thinking Epic of Gilgamesh to now, so like thousands and thousands of years. So this may be just something like a cultural touchstone in the back of everybody's mind that people are using for propaganda or whatever, but
and
it doesn't really reflect the world now.
So
her empires are still around, but it's no longer expanding.
Well, And it may even be that where we bring shattered in is more in a way, in a reflection of the way that the magic is changing, because we, as Dove sort of suggested, like perhaps if we were using sort of Stargate type portals to connect between all of these different places, and that's becoming less predictable. Suddenly, this vast empire, it's not easy to go between all of these places anymore. That could be what is shattering, and it's happening now as opposed to having always been that way or happening a long time ago. But like, obviously, this does represent a change to something we put there, and I know it was is your turn, Jason. Does that are you feeling okay with that? We don't want to undo your idea without
absolutely
discussing.
not.
Okay.
No, absolutely not. I like no, seriously.
Okay, good. I think it's important since it was your contribution. We didn't want to just okay. So, all right then. So I think then we've removed that from the legend. So the legend was she was the unbeatable monarch. She was the one that conquered everything and made our empire into what it has been for some time. And now, in fact, it keeps going because there's a whole religion about that. And the magic has been what sort of allowed that to function. But now it's changing. That's okay. Yeah. So we're going to do a little bit more about that too. So, but culture of the land, the changing magic. And this is where we actually need to pick one of the exploratory tables too, because the nature of the tables here is now we're going to each draw a card, and depending on whether it's even, odd, or a face, and then the suit, we will answer a different question from this table of 12 questions, right? And if we draw a card that would repeat one of those questions, then we would go and answer that prompt from the other table instead to avoid the duplication. And so we're going to do that. And what it says here is should answer at least 2 questions or until a total of 6 have been answered. So once again, if we wanted, we could each of us do 2, or we could go up until 6. What do folks feel like?
Let's go out to 6 and see when we want to stop.
Yeah. Makes sense to me. Okay, great. So first, the different exploratory tables that are available, starting on page 34, are magic, wildlife, vocations, calendar, pantheon, vignettes. And so those are, it's suggesting that we pick one of those to be the backup if we would otherwise be duplicating a question. So it's like if they say, choose one exploratory table which further defines specific aspects of the world to pair with this table. If a card is drawn and that question has already been answered, answer the corresponding question on the chosen exploratory table or draw a new card. You can pair any exploratory table, but for this table, I suggest either magic or wildlife or vocations.
I think vocations.
Okay.
Well, see, yeah, I think vocations would probably be the best, just because we can expect animals to be different from one world to another, but we've got one culture that's spreading out. So I think vocations would be a better choice there.
That works for me.
Yeah.
And maybe
with
magic
as
as a backup. Yeah.
Well,
we don't. We're
going to be getting into those tables more. Yeah.
We don't need a backup for this unit, but there are more after this one, so we could choose magic for a different unit. Okay, so where did we just leave off? I think I did the last one.
Lee's next.
Yes, correct. So Lee, you draw the next card.
The 10 of spades.
So 10 is even. So the middle table, spades.
All right. What is an important natural landmark? How do we navigate around them? How do we navigate around them?
Would you like a suggestion? Or
Mm,
are you noodling on something?
I'm noodling on something.
Okay.
I want to say that there is a collection of rocky spires that just towers of rock that just stick straight up into the sky. And I want to say something like they're called the dragon's spines or the dragon's crest. Let's call them the dragon's crest. And where they're located is very, very close to like a major city, so that
Look at the capital city.
like the okay, yeah, awesome. So the capital city, and so you have to plan around it. The streets around the capital city have to flow around it. The suburbs are from the Dragon Spine west, and or east, or whichever way we're putting this place. And then you've got the major technological centers, and so that this crest is the kind of like the major one of the the major landmark that people navigate by, but it's also they've like the magicians, the really high up maguses have built like an astronomy tower suspended between several of the spines so that they can get away from the light pollution and still see the starlight.
Can I use the word observatory?
Observatory, yes.
Great. So here's a question. Did these predate the capital city? And if so, why would we have chosen to put our capital city there?
I think that we chose to put our capital city there because of them rather than in spite of them.
Maybe because the observatory was there, and by putting the capital city there, it kind of claimed the observatory.
Yeah, that makes sense to me.
Well, also, a feature that tall would make it so easy to find. It would be such, like, something that tall, you would see it from miles and miles away. And so it's like, you see the dragon's crest, that's direction you need to go to the capital. That's where.
I mean, unless you're coming there via a gate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if the idea was that this was a very important observatory and conquering it was a big part of the Silkshade Empress's deal, maybe? Do we want to name the city something related to that?
Yeah, the city needs a name. That's why I put the word name in there.
Yeah. So while you're doing that, I'm going to go fantasy name generator.
Well, I was thinking, what keeps coming to mind is, King's Landing from Game of Thrones, right? Because it was literally like the idea was like this is where the king chose to make.
I think. How about the Empress's eye, because because it's the the telescope looking out.
Yeah.
Lee, this is your thing. I'm not gonna put it in unless you say yes. Good.
Yeah. No, that sounds good to me.
perhaps
great.
shortened to Empressai and some dialects. Okay, who's next?
That would be Dove next.
Yes. So, two of diamonds, even. What is the common transportation method that caravans utilize? What innovation is shaking things up? Huh? Well, let's see. I mean, there's always the classic, beasts of burdens. I think, just the classic, um, common transportation are carts drawn by, beasts of burdens. Let's have it be something unusual. Oh, dang.
Capybaras.
Giant capybaras. Giant capybaras.
Nah.
Well, so one thing that I will ask as we think about this, and this is not a problem. I'm raising the question of, at least in my own mind, without saying that this was strictly a science fiction story, since this game is really about magic and fantasy and so on. But I think a lot of the stuff that we've talked about so far has felt a little bit more science fiction-y, or at least like a little bit more advanced than
space fantasy.
Yeah, so
science
that's
fantasy. Yeah.
But that does not mean that Beasts of Burden can't still be the answer.
They could be,
but let's
construct Beasts of Burden.
There's the innovation. It also asks what innovation is shaking things up. So, stone lizards, just giant lizards that they're not fast, but
they're very strong.
Not fast, but they're strong, and they go forever.
Well, and maybe even if we've got sort of a space fantasy setup, if it was really always kind of magic and portals and stuff doing that, and not spaceships, it's still conceivably possible we could be having space fantasy without a lot of machinery.
I mean, the Beast of Burden could pull things
here's the thing, right?
Through the gates.
If getting to the next city is just a matter of riding down the block, then you don't need like sophisticated sailing ships or wagons or airships or anything like that. You just need something that can carry a bunch of stuff down the block.
And the innovation that is shaking things up are astral rotors. Carts powered by astral rotors. Basically magical engines. And hence why another reason magic changing is such a big deal.
So
Have there been explosions?
Well, no, I was going to ask is are these new because magic is changing, or is that magic is chewing? Okay.
They're new, then magic started to change, and that's one of the things that people are trying to rediscover so that they can make their machines work.
Okay, so carts powered by astral rotors are shaking things up, but now magic is changing, and they're not as reliable.
So the changing magic is a whole separate category. So let's maybe not get into that. That's maybe where we don't we stop with this prompt.
Right. Okay.
Because we'll definitely explore that. So Jason is next.
We are at which one?
You draw a card and it tells us. Okay. Page 19 is the table.
Ace of clubs.
Okay. So I guess that's odd, not a face card.
So it's when...
It's the cultures.
Yeah.
A culture.
Yeah. Page 19. So, yeah.
All right.
odd.
So how are ideas recorded? How are these ideas shared long distance? And we're talking about vocations.
Well,
No, we're not.
Well, no, not necessarily.
Not
vocations
necessarily,
will
but-
be if someone draws a card and it would be a duplicate. That's when we go to the other table.
How are ideas recorded? Well, maybe they're recorded on like scrolls or magical storage devices. Kind of like this is gonna be super nerdy. The
We would
holocrons.
expect. We would expect nothing less from you, Jason.
The holocrons from Star Wars.
Sure, yeah.
That they would pass down like these little blurbs of their knowledge or teachings in these little things.
Oh,
And
see, yeah. So, like, sorry, I'm just excited to jump on that. Please go ahead.
no, but and that's basically it. Like, and it basically takes time to focus and concentrate to put the magic or thoughts into it. But you can then pass them down to people, kind of like how we do thumb drives and things.
Right.
Well, what that makes me excited to just think about, and again, this is, without wanting to jump too far ahead, but the idea that if the primary means of recording ideas is inherently magical, you can imagine how disruptive magic changing would be to that.
Now, is this the kind of thing where, you like stand in front of it and activate it, and then you talk into it and it records you talking, and then somebody else can come along and activate it and see that recording?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Holograms.
I have an idea about how
Holograms
they're
are all
transmitted.
light based. That's our magic system, right?
Yeah, I have an idea about how they're transmitted. And like there's in different places there could be like reflectors and sending and receiving light signals. So you beam the light through the pyramid, aim it at the reflector, and it bounces off to a receiving reflector.
Oh, that's how they do long distance.
Yeah. And that's how they could do long distance, is through light or even starlight through the whatever kind of crystal formation it is, beam it to the reflector, and then it goes to the receiving prism or whatever and displays whatever that message was.
Oh yeah, it's kind of like if like the big buildings were like, say, like government buildings would have one, but it's like a prism on top of the building that reflects the light or whatever to where they're trying to go.
Yeah.
Which would make those very tall spires very useful, because the higher you go, the further your line of sight.
We also have portals, so there is just like you could have like
just carry one through, but
but
I'm sure there's like messengers and stuff that'll take a portal. Like, I've got these message crystals that take to.
But what if you could set up a beam that goes through a portal?
Yeah.
Or what if like somehow the way that the portal works, you just like it's literally you can just overlay the messages on top of them, kind of like we do with like internet signals and cable and stuff like that.
And then de-interlace them when you get the other side.
Yeah. What were you going to suggest, Duff?
No, never mind.
Okay.
It got covered.
All right.
Okay. My turn next.
Correct.
That is a 5 of clubs.
So,
that is odd clubs. We've already done that.
Right. So if we go to the vocations table, which is page 36 in the PDF, 5, you choose the 5. So 5 from that table.
That is, what fighting style requires special training?
Who is allowed to learn it? Who learns it anyway?
Okay. So we mentioned very briefly these starlight swords.
Star sabers.
Yeah, I am inclined not to use the word saber.
Yeah.
And
We
I'm
did write
actually,
like Star Wars in the touchstone.
yes.
In
I mean,
the
Star
thing,
Sword.
But
yeah.
yeah, I mean, yeah. I think Star Blades
Okay.
is a wider thing because then you can have all different kinds of weapons that have blades. Um, uh, uh, and so fighting with star blades is requires special training to keep the starlight condensed. Without concentration, it can what's the word I'm looking for?
Disperse.
Disperse, yeah.
I'm. How about this as an add-on to that? That under certain circumstances, rather than to just like disperse and dematerialize, it could actually sort of like detonate in a damaging way. Like,
oh yeah,
when you're ruining
Disperse or
someone's
detonate.
weapon, it could potentially create like an explosion that might be harmful to both you and the wielder of that one. And so,
right.
knowing when that might happen and how to protect against it could be part of.
I mean,
Right.
I could see one of the major lessons they learn is how to make it disperse instead of detonate. Because, like,
Yeah, if someone's losing a fight, they might say, "Well, I could take the other one with me if my opponent with me if it detonates."
Yeah. Or
Right.
yeet, run.
or just like, oh hey, this is a duel. This is not meant for anybody to actually die. Like this a practice duel. Nobody's meant to die. So you have to know how to make your blade disperse instead of detonate.
Yeah. Okay. Who is allowed to learn it? I think like anything else, when you have an empire, you know, the use of force is restricted to the state. So I mean that's in some schools of political science, that's the definition of a state when they have centralized military force. So only members of the Athenian family, which are extremely numerous.
Extremely numerous or extremely limited?
Well, I mean, there's 1,000 worlds, so there's thousands of nobles.
Yeah.
There's thousands of members of the imperial family.
How about an imperial military?
Yeah.
Because it would make sense for someone in the imperial military to have at least basic use of a powerful weapon. If it's a somewhat common kind of thing, maybe.
That's the point. I don't want it to be common. I want it to be.
And how about the upper echelons of the imperial military, like general and up?
And
who are more likely to marry into the imperial family.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Often the generals and elite military
officers or elite military of the army.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense.
exiled and disinherited royals have brought the knowledge of this fighting style to
the underworld.
Yeah, and I don't want to go too far into what the underworld is, just
sure. Well,
because
and
I've already got a lot
we're not
there.
saying there's anything in the royal blood. It's just that they keep the training secret.
Yeah. Somebody else picks up one of these things untrained, and who knows what might happen.
Right.
If they use it at all, it might just blow up in their face.
Self-solving problem from other people's opinions.
Okay, great. So that is, let's see what we're at, 4. So mine would be
Need at least 2 more.
Yep. All right. Look, that's a face card, Queen of Spades. So the changing magic. What toll did using magic take? Who can no longer use magic now that it has changed? Gosh, that's 2 different questions, it feels like to me. I guess like they don't seem quite as related as some of the others that we've seen with 2, but I guess they could be. The toll that using magic took, I think that there wasn't like a physical toll on the user, but all of this light manipulation required a lot of like highly refined and precisely, manufactured and fabricated like crystal elements, which had to be mined. Mined and refined and cut and so on, in order to meet the very precise specifications that were required for the magic. And so I think that the toll that using magic takes is, as is often the case in sort of colonial imperial sorts of situations, the toll is borne not by the people using it, but by the people who are there to feed the machine, so to speak. So the places where these things are mined, the people who have to work in the mines, the people whose land is ruined by the mines, that sort of thing. That's was the toll. But I think that now that the magic has changed, I wonder, we've talked about it just becoming more unpredictable. It does sort of just like raise this question of, do we think that there is any kind of an intelligence or will of any kind at all that's driving the change in the magic? Because we haven't really said. We've suggested that it's still kind of mysterious. We don't understand, right?
Yeah.
So it's not that there's like a change that is necessarily obviously beneficial to anyone in particular. In fact, it's kind of disruptive to everybody. I wonder if it's really just that.
And I think one of the things we need to keep in mind is that the people who are using the Starblades are not the only people who use magic.
Yes, absolutely. And so I think here's what I think is fun. The frequencies and such that work as like continue to function have just shifted enough. We're getting like some Doppler, some like red or blue shift type situation, right? Where it's ironically the most highly precision crystals that now don't work anymore because they were so finely honed to one specific operation that now that the workings of the magic have shifted, those are what fail to work, and it's only the more raw, less refined, less precisely machined things that can be used at all. And so in many respects, it is the most expensive ones, the most powerful ones used by the people with the most resources. Those are actually, ironically, the ones that are starting to fail or behave unexpectedly, whereas the cheaper, less precision ones can sort of, they're still not as powerful, but they can be adapted better.
And perhaps that kind of goes with the people too. Like the people that have had the most success channeling the magic are the people that, see it less of a strict number, a strict, narrow the frequency, get everything precise. Like, gather it, filter it, tune it.
The more rigid the manufacturing and the training and such, the less adaptable. And so it's really the people who don't necessarily have the extremely rigid formal training and the extremely expensive, highly polished, highly machined crystals that are able to kind of still use the magic more effectively. Now, of course, that doesn't mean that those people with resources don't immediately then say, okay, well, you're going to give me the one that works now. But certainly the ones that they did have before that gave them the extra advantage are actually what's starting to fail at higher rates. And that's causing a lot of cultural instability.
Yeah.
Yay.
Everyone cheers at cultural instability. Which, I said it that way. I was just kind of pleased that was.
Yes.
It's like, yay, cultural instability, woo!
I meant that more sarcastic.
Well, for interesting stories.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely. Yes. Okay, great. So, Lee, if you go now, that will be 6, and then we can decide if we want to
Keep going.
Yeah.
All right, 9 of hearts.
It would be odd and hearts.
Hearts.
So cultures.
What relics remain of the common ancestry amongst all people?
Ooh.
Well, we've already said that the observatory is ancient, and that's why the area around the city, around the crest was populated.
Well, here's a question. If that this makes me think of that we didn't really establish before, which was to say we know that the Silkshade Empress conquered, finger quotes, conquered. Were there people that she conquered? We know that there must have been at least some. We talked about there being this observatory that was already there, right? Yeah. So I guess that raises the question of who were the people that were there before? Do they share a common ancestry with the Silkshade Empress and the people of this empire now, or were they different? So when we say common ancestry, does that include the conquered as well as the conquerors?
Yeah, I think so, because it says all people.
Yeah, I think that since the Empress's collective of worlds came into being, there's been a lot of intermingling because portals are just so easy to traverse. Everyone has access to a portal, so they have built this kind of homogeneous culture so that there may be, based on, what kind of world you live in, there may be some regional differences, but the culture by and large, the people by and large look the same, they speak the same language because they're so interconnected because of the portal system. I think that I think that what each one keeps, though, is the regalia of the king that was conquered.
Was there just one?
No, the king of that particular world. It's like, and this is just me, my opinion. Okay. When you go to New Zealand and Australia, you go into a town and there's immediately a botanical garden. Every single town I went to when I went and visited both of those countries, botanical garden. And they're all gorgeous and they're all beautiful. They're all worth seeing. But there are a lot of botanical gardens.
Perhaps it's something like they've, that's been adopted. It's like these are the conquered colors.
Well, no, I want to say that there is a museum honoring the people who fought bravely. So the Silk Shade Empress, she opened her gate, her forces came through, and she wanted to honor the people who tried to defend their people. I'm giving you respect for, what you had. And so in every single major town on all of those worlds, there is this kind of museum with the regalia of the fallen and the old weapons that they used to use, just kind of like as a memorial and a tribute to them.
And perhaps a way to help maybe say, keep some of the rabble down from wanting to cause problems.
It was a PR thing. It was definitely a PR thing.
Oh yeah.
At the time it was absolutely a PR thing, but it's grown into this kind of like cultural touchstone where, okay, if I'm going on vacation to this place, one of the stops that I go to is this museum to see, what were your conquered colors, what was your history.
Perhaps there's someone whose goal
Bored
is
to tears. I don't want to go again.
For someone whose goal is to visit every single museum.
Yeah. And get the little tchotchke magnets
from
every single one.
No. The crystal
a little hologram.
The guy who walks you through the museum. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. If you guys don't like that idea,
I like it.
I'm willing to be
I like it fine. I like it fine. I mean, it reminds me of the Roman Empire's tendency to take whatever the local gods were and just shovel them into the Roman pantheon.
Yeah, that goddess looks like that goddess, so they're now the same goddess. Awesome. Well done. Go team. Yeah, I was actually thinking more of one of the Persian emperors, and I apologize, I don't remember his name, but his claim to fame was when he conquered, he gave the gods back. And so to the cities, it's like, okay, well, I conquered your enemies, so here are your gods back, and it was a great PR move for him.
I was just going to say it's how you lose the game of civilization on a religion victory. Anyway, okay, yeah, I think this is fun. I mean, it makes sense. I think that I think what I like about it is that it can kind of play either way, right? Like, is this a trophy to shows like here are the warriors that we defeated, and therefore we're better, and it's like a trophy, versus the idea that those who maybe still honor it would look at
little
it
column
way.
A, little column B, not 6-7, little column A, little column B.
Could also be 6-7. Anyway, okay,
little 6,
so
a little 7.
that is 6 answers to that section. So I think that seems good. Let's go ahead and move on to the next So the next bit
plenty
is
more.
Yes, inhabiting the world. And we're going to start with a city. Create a city in this world. This table defines broad strokes of the city's purpose, how magic is viewed or uniquely shaped, and of a folk legend born here. Excuse me. Use what you've built from the previous tables and hone in on themes, factions, and environments. Take turns drawing one card for each subtable in sequence to finish the sentences. And after you have finished going down this table, decide as a group whether this city is a city crumbling or a city flourishing, and proceed to the respective table. So this, once again, is just like we're going to draw just for suit in sequence. So the first sentence is, its influence was, and it would be your turn, Duff, to draw.
Okay.
Incidentally, since we've already named one city, I feel like unless we want to create some other city, we could, but I feel like there's no reason not
Make
to
our
go
lives
ahead
easier.
and have Empress's Eye be our city in question here. All right.
Clubs. So I got clubs, belief, a site for those who worship and seek answers.
Oh, that kind of plays into our observatory, right?
Yeah.
Well, but there's also the religion of the numbers go up, based on the Empress who we have decided founded this city at the observatory. So there's two possibilities.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So yes, its influence was belief. So how do you interpret that? What would you like to add, Dev?
So, I mean, it was the founding place of Numbers Go Up, and there was the great accounting that happened there, where one of its where its first proselytizer for it, accounted for all the riches of the Silkshade Empress, and said, "This is not enough."
Okay, and now, who said this is not enough? The Empress or someone else?
No, it's I like to think of this like this happened after the Empress was dead, so it's like
the prophet Pythagoras or something.
That's the term. Yeah. That would be the term for it.
Gordon Gekkomus.
Sure, Gordon Gekkomus.
The reference for anyone who has not seen the movie Wall Street is that Gordon Gekko is a character played by Michael Douglas, who gives a speech where notoriously he says, "Greed is good." Because the whole idea there is that it inspires people to do great things and work hard.
Yeah, the great accounting was done by Gordon Gekkomus and counted.
Okay.
Yeah. Yep.
Great. So the next would be Jason drawing for its variant of the magic is.
Variant of the magic is Queen of Hearts.
Academic.
I mean, that makes sense.
Origins and advancement.
We lost you somehow, Jason.
Oh, sorry.
Okay, you were just mumbling.
I was mumbling. Sorry, I was mumbling. A variant of the magic is academic, studying its origins and advancing its possibilities.
Perhaps focused on the observatory?
Yes. Because of the stars and things, they use the observatories to study movements of stars, their patterns, their brightness, all the things that kind of our scientists and astronomers study now, but with the lilt of how it affects the changing of the magic that's been going on. So I guess it would be they study its origins through astronomy at the observatories. Although I don't have a better name for magical astronomy.
I have an idea here. We already established the Dragon's Crest as these like really, really tall spires. And since we've also established that in this setting, we don't necessarily have like a lot of machines and stuff because it's magic instead, right? It may be that we don't have like spaceships and satellites and everything, right? So maybe part of what is so interesting about this observatory is that in all of the known empire, it is the one that can see the most of the sky at once because it's so high, so tall, up there at that peak. And so maybe that is just why it's like there are lots of observatories, but this one is the best one because it is able to be positioned, like at the top of this atmosphere. And maybe it makes it like very difficult to get to, but it, by comparison.
It's something. Well,
Lee said that.
I was saying it's so tall, but it's also stable. Like every attempt to make a similarly tall structure wobbles like nothing.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
I was actually thinking of exactly the opposite. Lee mentioned kind of offhand that it was between the spires. Sure. So what if it hangs on cables between like 3 or 4 of them, and by adjusting those cables, they can move it around within that space to change its resonance, what have you.
Oh, sure. Yeah. No, I think those are not incompatible.
I mean, like when it's not being moved.
No, I think yes, you're right, Dove. I think that it all of this works together. These are not incompatible. I think the stability of the rock structures beats in stability any other sort of constructed tower by a wide margin is the idea. And I don't know, what I was envisioning is that maybe these things are just like, they are so tall that it would actually be quite an ordeal to like mount an expedition to them. But that's actually part of why like the city is like built around it, is just because it's still useful enough that you want to go there frequently. So you have to build the whole infrastructure around trying to make it easier to reach these very high altitude observatory. Sorry, that kind of is getting away from the academic part of your answer, Jason.
Not really.
Yeah. Okay.
Going in more in depth in how these things work with the structure and so forth is kind of how they would have to address it anyway academically. So it's not going too far away.
Okay.
But no, I think that'll work, especially because it works with the stuff we've established already, and it leans into the idea of light-based, star-based powers and such.
And Callie in the chat says that it sounds like Arecibo.
Yeah, that's a fun observation, definitely. Because I was thinking of like the different arrays of satellites that you could still only do one at a time, but I suppose you wouldn't have to if you've got the whole thing on like a little spider web of cables. Anyway, though, the question I have too about this idea of this being an academic source and this powerful observatory, and all of that stuff might be part of the inspiration, like for the faithful of Numbers Go Up. But is there another faction, like an academic faction, that is more involved in like the principles of it, as opposed to like the faith of expanding the empire?
Yeah.
Is there?
I mean, I mean, I don't think you can avoid it.
Yeah, I think that there is a dedicated arm of magical monks that actually lives up there and maintains the structure and makes sure that everything is functioning properly, oils the gaskets, shines up the cables. God help you if you fall off. That and they actually like live up there, and it's like an ascetic. It's like an ascetic temple, basically.
Nice.
Let's give them a name.
Well, let's name them after the Dragon's Crest somehow.
Ooh.
The Crestborn.
Ooh.
Crestborn monks.
I like that.
Yeah. Let's go. With the fancy E on the end.
Of course.
Yes.
All right.
Super fancy.
Nobilis, you would be drawing the card for local legend is told of.
I've got the 2 of spades, so that is a hero titled
For their achievements or failures.
Yeah. Well, we've already got the Empress. And she's
This is a local legend.
Yeah.
This is a local legend. So I'm thinking of now just to tie in with this observatory. Delian Longtoes was the climber who attached the first cables to 3 of the Dragon's Crest spires to build the first version of the observatory.
Man, I'm just thinking about like in a non-technological society, even one with magic, the idea of stringing a cable between mountain peaks, even if they're like geographically close to one another, that's still quite an ordeal.
I remember hearing like a description of how Mayan people would build a rope bridge from one side of a chasm. Like they shoot they basically shoot an arrow or a grappler or something to get a small line across and send a child in a basket across carrying a heavier line, set that up, and adults and others would carry more materials and stuff across to finish the bridge. So it's like
I was just imagining that an impossibly vertical mountain. I mean, this is not a mountain, because most mountains have slopes that are well less than 45 degrees in aggregate. But imagine instead a 40,000 foot tall mountain that just goes straight up. And this guy, now, did he actually exist? Who knows? Long time ago.
Well, someone must have climbed it, right?
Yeah. And just the other end of the rope was just down at the bottom of the mountain. He just carried the thing up to the top and tied it off, and then went to another one and tied it off, and then they used those to hoist the
You know what this makes me think of is people who see like the pyramids and assume it must have been aliens, because surely just because this person who has not studied in ancient construction techniques can't understand how people must have done it, then it's obviously aliens, right? So it's just one of those things where like maybe there's a legend today just because everyone's saying like, I don't know how he could have done it. It must have been like this legendary guy who is just that good, right? Because we don't understand whatever the techniques were.
Yeah.
That's cool.
I kind of at the very tip of the crest of each spire of the crest, is it does it come to a point? Is it flat? Is it round?
I was thinking it came. Well, I mean, a point in the when you look at it from the ground, it looks like a point. When you actually get there, there's a round top, but it's not like it's not like a plateau.
They're like rocky.
Yeah.
They're irregular, right?
Yeah.
Not
Yeah.
They're not like finely shaped and machined smooth.
Yeah.
Well, I was saying like, could someone sit on top of one of the spires like cross-legged? Just
Yeah, I think there's enough room to do that. Yeah.
Yeah.
really,
Yeah.
you know,
I think the current incarnation of the observatory is so stable because they've actually used light blade magic to bore through. And so the cabling actually goes through the spire instead of just being attached to the spire, which was previously a weak point.
Well, just each sort of like once you've got the first line, it's a little bit like Dove was saying, in the sense is that like once you've got a cable that's up there, you use that cable to pull up a heavier one, and so on and so on.
Yeah.
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 All right. Anyway,
can you imagine how heavy a 40,000-foot cable would be, even just a thin one?
Indeed. Absolutely. Okay, that's a city. So now, is this a city crumbling or a city flourishing? I mean, it sounded like crumbling is sort of more along the lines of our touchstones and palette.
Yeah.
I think so.
Okay. So this table fleshes out the city you've started, a city with a troubled past, but possibly a brighter future. Determine the history and residents of your city by answering questions within 3 categories: the past, trials of the people, and the legend's influence. And then this is another one where we would have an exploratory table that pairs with it in case of duplicates. So it's suggested is calendar or pantheon or vignettes.
Could we have a calendar? Because that
I think
is always
calendar's interesting. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great. Sounds good. So I would be the next person to draw.
Yep.
So that's a 7. So 7 of clubs, odd of clubs. What event sent the city into turmoil once, and what pulled it out? Well, we had just talked a little bit about this, the idea that there was this potential conflict between the more academic-minded people, which maybe includes the monks who actually, the Crestborn that actually live up there in the observatory, and the faithful of Numbers Go Up. Maybe there was a strike of sorts. Where the monks, the Crestborn monks, started refusing to let the Numbers Go Up people use the observatory, like stopped reporting to them as a sort of like protest, which sent the city into turmoil as suggested. I think, what pulled it out? There's this question of like, well, there's a number of ways that could go, because at least one of the first ones that kind of comes to mind is, they were forced to stop doing that. But at Starblade Point. But then again, I think, you know what? Maybe there was, maybe it was a little bit more of like, not quite such a just like, and then they all were killed. It's more like a, the difficulty was because they were the ones that were sort of up there and in charge of all of the ways that people more normally might easily be able to get up there. And they could basically not only control the information and where it was pointed and so on, but also the means by which people were able to get in and out of it. but part of it is sort of an inherent siege, right? Because they don't necessarily have, they're not necessarily very self-sufficient up there. Maybe broadly more self-sufficient than the average person might be, but if they're keeping anyone from coming or going, maybe they're going to start to run low on food eventually. And so part of it becomes also a little bit of like a hunger strike situation. And maybe
I have a relevant idea.
Okay.
What if the way that people get in and out is that the cables let the observatory down to the ground? People can get in and out, supplies, et cetera, and then crank it back up again.
See, I was envisioning that it would be more like there would be like elevators and not like modern elevators, but like platforms or compartments that would be lowered as opposed to lowering the whole thing. But what if? Okay. I think maybe what it is it comes down to there was this idea that after a siege that seemed like it wasn't getting anywhere and everyone was really kind of like, it stopped kind of being exciting for the public, so to speak, because a siege is not exciting. And there was a pressure for these numbers go up people to do, quote, something about this because the siege was not working fast enough. And there was started to be active discussion of how, like, what would the plan be to sever some of the cables in such a way that you could crash the observatory without it falling right onto the downtown of the city. And people were actually like proposing these as plans. And that eventually, when it looked like someone might actually be dumb enough to do that, the strike was called off. They basically like gave in, but it was the sort of situation where like everybody kind of came out looking a little bit bad. Like in the sense that like they didn't really get what they wanted from the strike, but also there was a number of people within the city that kind of grew sympathetic to their position just based on it being brought to their attention. And then the idea that it's like numbers go up was literally going to blow up our observatory, our ancient historic observatory, because they couldn't use it for a couple of weeks. And so I think that there was actually like, even though they didn't achieve any sort of like concrete demands, there was, more support for their position grew in the populace because of the way that the numbers go up fanatics reacted. Just I decided I felt like that was more interesting and complex than the idea that it was just like a fight.
Yeah.
All right, great. So Lee, you would be next.
Are we doing 6 in this section as well?
It's a good question. Maybe we do one let's just do one each, because there's a couple more modes after this.
And that is the 5 of spades.
Odd spade.
Yeah.
Same thing.
No,
never mind. Sorry.
How was magic abused within the city, leading to its fame?
Hmm?
Are we talking about the fame of the city or the fame
well,
of the magic?
I mean, I think you could interpret it either way. Yeah. But I mean, my read of it initially is that the city is famous because of how the magic was abused, is how I read it. But you could go either way.
That's a bad idea. Let's go with that.
How about you say the idea? Yeah.
Yes.
And this kind of plays into my existential horror. That the city is called the Empress's Eye. Because not only could she build gates, but she could look through them. And, anywhere there was a portal, she could look through and gather intel about whatever was going on. That's one of the reasons she was so unbeatable, was because she was so knowledgeable.
My question is, how is she looking through, and how is that different from anyone else looking through it?
I'm going to claim Palantir.
Okay.
So I'm thinking it's like, yeah, you can, looking at what's immediately around the gate is no big deal, but like, she could see like miles around.
Well, oh no, I think that may be true. That's fine, but let's say that you wanted to use one of these gates to invade your neighbor. You'd have to mass an army, and she can look through all of these gates at the same time and say, oh, somebody is massing forces here, and she can maneuver against them. You can't mass forces without her being aware of it.
I guess I'm still just I'm stuck on just like the literal logistics of it. When we say so you're imagining she's got like a crystal ball and she can just choose whichever portal to see through.
Yeah.
Because my sort of gut reaction was that like she literally can just control the portals, like she can just turn them on or off at will.
But like the Lady of Pain.
Well, that yeah. But this is your answer though, and I don't want to like go against that. I guess I'm struggling to understand what it looks like and how it actually, like, what's the actual impact. Because these portals, we haven't really talked about what they are, but I sort of hadn't had the impression necessarily that seeing through them was a big problem.
Okay, if there's a portal between Boston and Washington, D.C. You walk up to the portal in Boston, you can see into Washington, D.C. From her palace,
yeah.
She can see into Washington, D.C. and Boston and Chicago and L.A. and Tokyo and everywhere else where there's a portal.
How? Is it just her? Does she have something that now other people can do that? Like that this is like, why is she the only one that can do that?
Perhaps there's a like,
I'm thinking that she has like a special crystal that will let her do that. It's what she uses in order to build the gates. And also kind of what lets her see through them and control them. It's like a control crystal.
Okay.
That's why I said Palantir.
Right.
That she has something that, that special crystal, and maybe it's kind of like a D20, D20 shaped.
Like icosahedron.
That she uses this to not only build them, but to then control them, manipulate them, see through them, so that.
I mean, perhaps
it's basically she has an all-seeing eye.
Well, but was it just her, and now nobody else can do that, or is her crystal?
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
well,
she was buried with it. let's just
Why
say
would
she
they
was
do
very
that?
good.
Why
No,
would
no,
why
or-
wouldn't they?
When she
It was
died,
her
it broke.
personal magic that allowed it, but the crystal was the implementation of it. I think what Lee is saying is that only she could do it.
Okay. I all right. I don't want to be okay. If everyone else is fine with it, that's fine. It's Lee's answer. I was just sort of feeling like something that only one person could do generations and generations ago doesn't feel like an answer to this question to me. But I don't want to hold things up if I'm the only one that feels that way.
I mean, it could be something that they've been, some that people have always been trying to replicate, but no one's succeeded at.
Let me just pitch a different idea. She invented this special crystal, but now whoever occupies the palace has it. Why does it have to be something that died with her?
How about she was a master of the technique. Anybody since her has been able to do something like it, but it's a pale shadow.
Okay.
Not near the scale.
Why is it important for it to not be the same now?
I think part of it is because the Empire is not as powerful as it was.
I guess I just sort of feel like what it's doing is it's taking the cool power and making it not around anymore. As opposed to saying, isn't that a cool power that could actually drive a story now? But no, you know what? I'm if everyone else is on board, I will withdraw any objection.
Well, I'm okay with getting rid of the crystal and just saying that this is a cool power that she had, and maybe the chosen one who can restore the Empire can also have this cool ability and tap into the portals and stuff.
Well, that's kind of the opposite of what I was saying, but I don't object to that. It's fine. I was saying, isn't it more interesting if whoever it is can do it now instead of only one person used to be able to do it a long, long time ago?
Or maybe the varying different levels of mastery have existed over the years.
Anyway,
I'm good with it.
Okay,
I'm good with either interpretation.
Okay, Lee. Ultimately, This is your question.
Yes.
Okay.
We need.
So let's say
I think we need to.
I've made my position known. It is your decision.
Okay.
Yeah.
How about we say that she had the crystal that allowed her to see into the world where one of her gates existed. It's now in the possession of whomever leads the Empire.
Okay. That certainly works for me. I mean,
I'm with that.
okay. So, next topic.
Yep.
A repeat.
Okay.
3 of clubs.
Sure. So, calendar was the other one that we talked about. So that is on page 37 and a 3.
What is used to track the passage of time? How is it represented visually? Let's see. I mean, there's all the stars. It's like, it's like which constant, like at like midnight of every night, there is a on important or at midnight on important nights, there's a particular star that is on above the tip of one of the spires, and like
how about the tallest spire?
Yeah, the tallest spire. Yeah, and
now the thing is, what star will be above that changes based on where you are around the spire. Where do you need to view it from to have that?
Let's see. perhaps it's one of the things that like there is a small camp where one of the Crestborn monks always goes, and like it's like a mile outside the city, or a mile, like, or some distance away from the spire, and each night the monk watches and like bring like sends a signal to the observatory when the day happens. So like the Crestborn monks are kind of the day keepers, the calendar keepers. So
you could have the whole underside of the observatory just be like a lit up display for everyone in the city below.
Yeah, and the monks are the ones that change the display. It's like, and it's like each equinox and what's the other one?
Solstice.
Solstice. Yeah, the solstices. Yeah.
All right. Nice.
Maybe I like the idea that.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
One of the things that I've played around with over the years is an alphabet that does not have an orientation, where all the letters are rotationally symmetrical. And also, if you look at a page of printed text, the page itself has an orientation as well. So when this alphabet is used, it's used in a spiral, so that there's no way to hold it that's right way up. You can read it no matter what the orientation is. And I'm thinking that since people would be viewing the underside of this observatory from many different angles, they would use a means to make it understandable no matter what angle you looked at it.
Well, that can be achieved by symbols instead of words. I think a large symbol would be easier to perceive from far below than words.
I think it gets back to the something we've kind of been leaving behind is the neon that Jason wanted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that the manipulation of light is what these people are best at. So yeah, there's like a 3-dimensional symbol that kind of hangs in midair beneath the observatory that shows the time.
That I could see. Yeah.
And whether it's in like different neon colors, it's like in the morning it's one color, in the afternoon it's a different color, when it's night it's a different color, to make sure that everybody can see.
Yeah. And it could be like there's just general lighting around the city that changes color kind of according to like season, like holidays, big events.
Lightapalooza.
All right.
Yeah.
Let's keep moving.
Yep.
Yeah.
So,
okay.
Next, Jason.
Yeah.
Nine of clubs.
More odd clubs.
All right.
So yeah, another odd club. So that we're back on our calendar table. So 9 on 37 is, how are years differentiated? Are there specifics outside of numerical?
Ooh, years are depicted by what major stars are within, are in a certain position, kind of like how we have with our planets and stuff now. But since most of the magic and powers are based around stars and their observations, they've made constellations in different positions based on the type of year using these stars. So like this area of stars or magic might be more powerful at this time because these
Constellation,
stars,
you mean?
yeah, like this constellation is in the sky, so these type of magics with those stars would be more powerful at this time of year or during this year. Kind of like how they have
Okay.
different.
Well, I mean, in a normal zodiac,
Right.
in an earthly zodiac, you have summer constellations and winter constellations. They get the same ones through the year that are in the sky. So how is theirs different so that the constellations are by years instead of by seasons? Because on our Earth, constellations are a seasonal thing.
Maybe it's certain larger stars that don't seem that basically they're gas planets, they're gas giant planets, but the people, maybe the
Okay.
telescope is not as refined, but it is the movement of the planets within certain constellations. So that, all right, it's summer, but or is the the first of the year, whenever, let's say summer is when the year starts, so I know that this gas giant has moved into position, so this is the new year, and keeps it going. So so it actually like follows a trail of larger planets and
I mean,
something
I
like
mean,
that.
planet used to mean a wandering star. I
Yeah.
mean, they didn't make except for the fact that they moved around, they didn't make a distinction between planets and
Yeah.
stars. They were the same thing. They just planets moved and stars didn't.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'm thinking, and you can also have like comets that show up in certain constellations. Also, might be an indication of a new decade. Does that sound reasonable, Jason? I know it's your answer. I'm just throwing stuff out.
No, I was trying to see here. Because we talked about also how the magic is changing. And so I'm wondering if because it's star based, if you could have something. What if it was like you said, Nabilas, that our like normally on our zodiac, these constellations and stuff are seasonal. But what if because of the changes in magic, they no longer, and because these cities and this world is changing and the city's crumbling, that the seasons are now elongated annually. So like instead of summer being 4 months, it's 12.
You mean 3 months?
Or yeah, like but the season takes the whole year now, and those constellations are now staying for that entirety. And then as the year shifts, it becomes a new year, new constellations, new season. Kind of like how Alaska has shifts in its daylight and nighttime cycles, but this would be seasonal.
Okay, we got that written down.
All right.
Why that might be happening.
Okay.
That's evil. Okay.
We ready to do yours, Nabilas?
Sure. Let's see what we got. We got the 6 of Hearts.
Yay, an even number.
Let's see.
Page 25.
Yep. What must one do to keep the city's spotlight? Who has it now? Spotlight is an interesting choice of words there.
Yeah.
It's to me that's like who are the people in the city paying attention to? And going by the neon, and the whole idea of the use of light, the people of Empress's Eye appreciate spectacle. Whoever is putting on best show has got their attention. This can be fickle, so people who get it tend to exploit it for all it's worth while they have it.
Yeah. Shakespeare's Julius Caesar comes to mind.
All right. Who has it now?
Right now, the spotlight is held by a holomancer. Gold, who has risen to notoriety in spite of a common background. In the past, such celebrity has been short-lived, has been fleeting, and ends in tragedy.
Nice.
I was thinking like the name of the holomancer, some sort of play on Rick Astley.
I was actually thinking a play on George Lucas.
Wow. Yep.
Well, lucky for the rest of us that this was Nobilis's answer.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
But okay, yeah, great. So, if I seem like I'm trying to hustle us along, it's a little bit because I'm getting sleepy, but that's okay because we got 2 more phases to do. A journey in the land. With a clear shape of your world, zoom in further to look at a group traveling. This table brings you down to the ground of your world. Take a moment to see what you've created from the perspective of the people. Who are they? What are they doing? And what stories do they tell? And so this is another one where it's the 3 in order. So when traveling with a blank, this is my card. So I'm drawing a 4 of hearts. So this is with a company, traders, army, envoy. Well, we've already mentioned caravans. How about this is a group of traders, and they were perhaps unable to afford or disinclined to adapt to the new astral rotors, and so they still use the stone lizards for their carts. But they, now that the magic is starting to get complicated, they are now able to stay just as reliable as they always were, and as opposed to the others, which are more erratic because of the magic changing. But there is still more risk in their journeys than there used to be because the portals are sometimes unpredictable. What do they trade? Perhaps they bring in shipments of raw crystals to be refined and then take back more, like the machined goods. In the same way that you might have a trader in a mining town bring out the ore and back in tools.
They bring in those raw crystals so they can utilize them for either the academic side of things or maybe facilitating the use of the observatories and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Okay, who's next?
All right, I think that's me.
Yep.
So
Yep.
the leading prompt is during.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Jack of Hearts, a holiday, a celebrated or observed national or religious. I Let's say that this is a religious holiday.
Okay.
And this is, hey, we've already got the Great Accounting. This is the anniversary of the Great Accounting. So it's something like Jubilee, where debts are settled, new agreements are forged, people are partying because they've got a clean slate now.
I'm also thinking of several religions and cultures that have a kind of a day of reckoning where you kind of take personal stock of your life and accomplishments in the year before and make plans for the year ahead, often tied to New Year's, but not necessarily.
Would numbers go up have as a holiday a forgiveness of debts? They could.
Perhaps it's a.
It didn't say forgave. She said settled.
That's true.
Yeah, perhaps it's a time when, like, if you have a debt, you are expected to arrange a way to settle it in the next year.
Or maybe it is the day when all debts come due.
It's kind of like if you're not able to pay off whatever active debts you have by then, you have to surrender whatever your collateral was, or
yeah,
kind of like almost like tax day.
Yeah, Callie.
I mean, that makes sense. That tax day would be a religious holiday,
and rituals would include like basically adding up and counting everything you've gained since the last one.
Yeah.
And adding up and counting on all the stuff you owe.
Callie in the chat says, like Candlemas in England when rents were due.
Oh. I'm not familiar with Candlemas, but when rents are due certainly seems like it applies.
Yeah.
Cool.
I'm going to write it can be a day of celebration or not.
Yeah.
If you're the one that holds holds the collateral for a lot of debts.
Well, it's also the sort of thing that is kind of like it's a day of celebration for the people who think that's a day of celebration, as opposed to everyone else who's not in that religion who goes, oh boy. All right. Great. And so when traveling with a company during a holiday, a story is being told about blank.
Origins, to remember, remind, revive.
Oh, okay. So what is this story?
The story is is of how the first starlight was captured.
More. Say more.
Okay. Let's see.
Put a name to the legend of some kind.
Yeah. Well, like many situations, it was done by accident. A young scholar who became known only as Light was messing around with the crystal, late at night, just, thinking about his studies, and then, tossed up in the air, and all of a sudden it flashed with light, and he caught it, and it was glowing. And he studied it. He learned how to draw it out into magic.
Maybe the
Ta-da!
active story then with this traveling traders during the holiday, they're reflecting on that, that legend of the first captured light, partly as a reflection of like, because of the way magic is changing, people are having to sort of like relearn how to do things.
Yeah.
Or, remember, what things used to be, what things are now. Thinking on all that. It's almost like it's like it's a Christmas movie or something of some kind. Actually, the one that came to mind was Tokyo Godfathers, which is great, but not necessarily a traditional Christmas movie.
I mean, they can't all be oh my god.
A Christmas Story?
No.
I don't know where you're
Godfather?
The skyscraper.
Die Hard.
Die Hard.
Die Hard is the one you couldn't pull.
Yeah.
All right.
No, I had Bruce Willis in the duct with the lighter in my head, but I couldn't say Die Hard.
Because that's the one that, to your mind, is a traditional Christmas movie.
Yes.
Okay. Yes. All right. Great. Okay. Love all of that. So the last phase here is a point of view. To bring this game to a close, each of you makes a character on this journey, listening to or telling this story. Consider being a member of the main group, a guest or stowaway, a child or an elder, someone who hitched a ride to or from the city. Think about every aspect of your world. Draw on the elements that most excited you, something that was deeply fleshed out or something that was only briefly touched on. Look at the various factions, professions, and cultures that exist in your world. Grab that thing that someone else created that inspired you, that you could rant about for hours, or that you'd love to embody as a person. Once you've found it, create the point of view in which you'd want to see it explored. And so basically just everyone, so we're not really like doing this in order as much as just like, if you have something, jump in and jump around until everyone has introduced their character. And we're treating this like this is the prologue to a story that would exist elsewhere. I have an idea for mine if nobody else is ready yet.
Go ahead.
So with the idea that there was that sort of busted strike at the observatory, I have the feeling that my character is one of the Crestborn monks who kind of became really like disillusioned by the whole thing, feeling a little bit like, I don't understand what the world is anymore, because it felt like this whole big crisis of principle, and then it kind of ended on this weird sort of ambivalent note, and so decided to leave the observatory monastery to try to, like, what is the rest of the world? And so this feeling like I don't understand. I need a new purpose in life, and so I'm gonna just try to, where's someone who's going somewhere? Can I come with you? I know how to work with my hands and look at things from a long distance away. So that would be my character.
I'm going to say a disinherited royal uses the caravan as a cover while he gives secret lessons in Starblade fencing
Nice.
to people who should not know about it.
Yeah.
There have been explosions. Detonations is the word that could be traced back to him if there were surviving witnesses.
Yeah. I'm going to say that my character is one of the people that your character is teaching Nobilis. And that the only reason that he is a surviving witness is because he is all in for he's like your loyal squire.
I was just going to say this is Hedge Knight and Squire territory.
Yeah.
How old is your
Is there anything
character?
else you want to add aside from his enthusiasm?
Yeah. Like, are you a kid or?
I'm gonna say that they're about 12. And they're not originally from this world. They kind of got lost and ran through a couple of portals, and so this is the trustworthy adult that they found to take care of them.
Oh, what if it's like you went through you were too young to know how to describe where you were from, and you went through a couple of different portals, and so now you don't know how to say which one it was, and so you're just gonna travel around to different ones until you find the one that was home?
Not only that, the portals have become unstable, and sometimes you don't go where you were intending to go.
Oh, yeah. That's fun.
Yeah.
So trade, instead of being, okay, we're gonna have the contract for me to take these 7 cartloads of grain to that place, and then, where it'll be milled, and then I'll take the flour over to this other place, and then to bring the bread back here, with these really, like, I mean, this is called triangular trade, and it was very common in the 18th, 19th centuries, where you would just have the same things you would bring from one place to another because you'd make a profit on every leg. Now a caravan has to, like, get a bunch of stuff and go through the gate and hope that you came up someplace that you knew something about and had contacts with, and
Yeah.
And most of the time you go where you're intending to go, but you kind of have to be prepared to not be going there.
Yeah. I also want to say that this little kid does have a collection of the little crystal tour guides from every museum that they've been to. And it's like, oh no, I've already got this one.
How else are you going to keep track of all the places you've been?
Yeah.
Anyway, great. Okay. Jason, Dove?
So, a merchant who was successful, but got scammed into taking on a lot of debt. And she is hiding on the caravan so that none of the debt collectors are able to find her. Hopefully.
So that's a little fraud.
I was just going to say that ties into the Catch-22 stuff again, actually, because there's a character in that he just starts off, he's the quartermaster, but he kind of just starts off on his own little business, and like everyone will buy from him because everyone else is like, if they want to buy eggs, they can only buy them for like 7 cents a dozen, and he can sell them for 5 cents a dozen. And so no one's quite figuring out, like, how are you making a profit when you're selling things for lower than anyone else can buy them for? And then it's basically eventually revealed that it's because he's like triple dealing, like he's basically selling him to himself, and he's the reason that it costs more for everybody else.
Wow.
But then he basically hoists himself on his own petard, so to speak, later by cornering the market on a bunch of cotton that nobody actually wants, and so he's just stuck with it now. So he like buys up to have a monopoly of something, and then nobody wants it. So he's like, if I
and the only reason anybody was
and...
buying it is because he was, and
yeah. So in any case, yeah, that
sounds like NFTs.
No, jeez.
Okay,
all
so
right.
that's
Jason.
4. Yeah. You're muted.
How are you going to work Clem in here this time?
I believe in you.
Yes, I believe in you. The power of Leonardo compels you.
He does. My character he is a monk of the numbers. But the problem is, he was hit on the head in an accident and can no longer count the numbers.
Oh no!
Oh, that's like excommunication.
That is such a fun foil for my my character too.
Yeah.
And so he is on this journey to try to find and reclaim his numbers. And they branded him with the worst thing. He's got a brand on his forehead of a zero.
A zebra?
Oh, of what?
A zero, because
a zero
start at the beginning of the numbers.
I thought you said a zebra, and I was trying to make a connection. It's like
I was trying to do barcode.
What's a twist?
What Jason failed to mention was that 0 in this numbering system is a big Z.
Yeah. I was going to say it's the worst thing because a zebra is the opposite of a number. Like it's the furthest you could get from a number.
Maybe
0 makes more sense.
Maybe somewhere on the journey we meet someone who turns that 0 into a zebra. So that he can now get away from the stigma of having that lack of numbers.
Yeah, a tattoo artist just adds like a few more details to it, and now it's just this...
like it still looks like a 0, but it's got a head and little hooves and little tail.
All right,
and stripes too.
Yeah.
So that is A Land Once Magic. You know, like it has a few things, like there's other exploratory tables that obviously could have, we could continue to do if we had wanted.
Yeah.
Like some of these vignettes are fun. Just there, like we see a group of children playing a game outside. What's the goal of the game, and how has someone been accused of cheating? That sort of thing. And then it just talks about like different ways people, who knows, might use this as like, session 0 type stuff for a new campaign setting or for other things. But yeah, what a fun little game this was. A Land Once Magic.
Yeah, I can think of at least one variant of hopscotch that would be really popular with numbers go up kids.
Oh yeah.
Because the numbers always go up, they just don't want to turn around and go back down.
No.
So it's like, you gotta keep going until you make a mistake, then you gotta go back down, and that's just not
I was just gonna say, no, you walk around and you and you make a mark to indicate, you're keeping score of how many times you've been through it. Anyway, that's what Land Wants Magic. So, thank you everybody for listening and or watching. And we will return next week for more of some other game, some other kind of adventure on so many levels.
So many levels.